Okay, so I'm going to look at numbers 2 and number 6. There are a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to show you two ways that you can attack these problems and try and work through them. For number 2, well, I guess for any of these, we're going to start with the parentheses. So B intersect C. Where does circle B overlap with circle C? Now, the overlap right here, and I'm using a pencil because I'm probably going to have to erase something. Now I'm going to ask A minus the intersection of B and C. So I'm saying what's in A but not in the intersection of B and C. So I'm going to shade all of A because it has to be in A. But then I'm going to subtract, I'm going to take out what's not in the intersection of B and C. Well, if I subtract the intersection of B and C, we're left with this. So I've got all of A, what's in A, but not in the intersection of B and C. This dot right there that I made, that's in A, and it's not in the intersection of B and D, or B and C. So that works. This dot right here, that's in the circle A, but it's not in the intersection of B and C. That dot right there is in A, but it is in the intersection of B and C. So that doesn't work. That little region right there, even though it's part of A, we have to erase it because we need to have all the shaded area that's not in B and C, not in the intersection of B and C. So that's kind of how those subtractions work, those nots work. What's in A but not in the intersection of B and D. And one way to do that is by drawing dots and going through step by step. Does that work? Does it not work? Another way is to shade and erase. We'll look at number 6. There we go. So here's number 6. Okay, again, I'm going to start with the parentheses. I'm going to say, okay, I want the union of A and B. I want all of A and all of B put together. So I'm going to shade all of A and all of B because I'm starting with the parentheses. I'm doing it lightly because I'm probably going to have to erase. Now I'm going to ask, where does what I just shaded, all of this space I just shaded, where does it overlap? Where does it intersect with C? So the space I just shaded intersects C right in here. These three little spots right there, they're in A and B put together, the union of A and B, and they overlap, they intersect with C. So that part right there is where the union of A and B intersects C. And that would be our region. If you did it with the dots, you could draw a dot in each of those different 7 sections here and say, okay, is that dot in the union of A and B? Yes. Does that dot intersect with C? No. Okay, so that doesn't work. And you would keep going. You'd say, okay, does this dot, is it in the union of A and B? Yep. Is it in the intersection with C? No, it doesn't intersect with C. This dot here, is it in the union of A and B? Yep, it's in the union of A and B. Does it intersect with C? Yeah, it overlaps with C. So yes, this region here must work. That's how you could do it dot by dot if you wanted to. I know it's confusing. I know it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. I hope that helped, those 2 different ways of doing it. And you can see kind of the thought process and how to erase and work through those problems.